At a real simple level, action research is just someone trying something out to see if it works. I mean, I think teachers have engaged in action research informally for a long time. You know, they read about a strategy, hear about a strategy, and they say, I'll see if it works. But then what they use as evidence is just their own perceptions. We talk about in terms of action research now is just being more systematic about that. And what's really nice about the Toolkit that you're going to hear about is that the REL Central researchers put together something that's very easy to use and allows teachers to have access to some fairly sophisticated ways of analyzing data. So people have been doing it for a long time, but now we have tools that are available to up the ante in terms of the rigor and focus teachers have.
The Instructional Improvement Cycle Toolkit is a toolkit that has 3 tools that teachers can use to test a strategy and see how well it's working and use that to improve their instruction moving forward.
For instance, if a teacher has a new unit coming up or a strategy that they've heard of and want to try out, they can test that in a classroom and then compare the results of student achievement tests in that classroom to student achievement tests in a classroom that doesn't receive the strategy. Actually, the toolkit was a great collaborative effort between us and the people in York Public Schools in York, Nebraska. They had been working with cohorts of teachers for years implementing action research, and they wanted a way in which to analyze data that they got from their action research in-house.
So we worked with them on a process that they already had in place to make this process self-executing. So we were able to pull together documents that teachers could follow to plan to implement this action research process, and an Excel file that teachers could use to analyze the data, and a reflection worksheet that teachers could use.
So we have three tools in the toolkit. The first one is the planning guide, which provides strategy selection support. The second one is an Excel analysis tool.
Then the third tool is a reflection worksheet, which provides a flowchart for looking at what your effect size and the confidence interval means. And it also provides guiding questions to help you think about what you might do with that information and how you might use that strategy moving forward.
The planning guide provides step-by-step instructions and worksheets to guide teachers in using one of 3 routes to select a strategy: selecting classes that receive the strategy and classes that get typical instruction without the strategy; selecting a content assessment to gather pre- and post information about student performance in both classes; determining when and how to use the strategy.
The Excel analysis tool is a pre-programmed Excel spreadsheet that allows teachers to compare the performance of a group of students who receive a strategy to a similar group of students who do not receive the strategy. Teachers enter assessment data for the experimental and control classes, and the analysis tool automatically determines if the groups are similar enough to compare using baseline equivalence, and provides an effect size and information about confidence in the effect, which lets teachers know how well the strategy worked in the classroom. The reflection worksheet includes a figure that can be used as a flowchart to help you to interpret the results from the Excel analysis tool. It gives you information about what to think about if you have a positive or a negative effect size, and whether or not your confidence is yes or no. It also asks teachers to consider the implementation of the strategy. It asks teachers to consider the characteristics of the assessment that they implemented. And then it also asks teachers to consider what next steps they might take. So if the strategy worked well, would they consider implementing it again with another classroom? If the strategy didn't work well, would they consider making adjustments to the strategy and trying it again and maybe doing another test of how well the strategy worked?